Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with Fiendsmith Snake Eye Yummy. Finally coming back to Snake Eye Yummy after messing around with Cool Tune and continuing to still mess around with Cool Tune a lot, but had to come back to Snake Eye with the new edition, Snake Eye Yummy that is, with the new edition of the Fiendsmith engine. I've actually shown off Fiendsmith in Snake Eye Yummy in the build I got in the top 100 of the Duelist Cup last month, but this is my first iteration of that style of deck. So here, our opening hand is like not the most ideal, but I can actually normal summon Lacrima pretty comfortably here. Well, I can on my turn. It's my opponent going first here. They're going to be on K9 Mitsurugi. This will be a 6-turn, very back and forth game. We're going to pre-prep for Mirror and Habakiri. Habakiri is going to activate. We're going to chain Fuelos. And thankfully, they do not have a response. Fuelos resolves. They summon Saji. We get to top deck Dia Bellstar. Not bad here. Saji is going to add the Mitsurugi Ritual. And they're going to pass. I actually don't necessarily agree with my opponent passing. I think they could have still summoned the Habakiri from hand. They would have gotten to search a little bit. And then I think it's worth giving your opponent one Fuelos draw to also set up like the Murakumo. But that's just me. I get it. I understand why they wouldn't want to give me more draws here. Fuelos not great top deck. They're going to fire off Purulia. But we're on Purulia. That means I can use my crossout designator here. We'll banish their Purulia and negate it. Okay, we're going to go normal summon Lacrima. Lacrima is going to activate, sending away the Engraver. Now we can link away Lacrima for the Fiendsmith's Requiem. And this is why it wasn't a big deal that we opened Lacrima plus the Yummy Monster, because we can just turn Lacrima into the Link 1 Requiem, and because we control Link 1, we can now special summon Cookie Yummy. We're going to activate Fiendsmith's Requiem here, summoning the Engraver, because we already normal summoned Lacrima. We're going to equip Requiem, and here, I end up getting a little bit greedy. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the time you wouldn't get punished for this, but I kind of do here in a second. But I sent away the Requiem with the Bellstar because I'm like, oh yeah, it's convenient, I can do it right now. But really, I had this Fuelos in hand that already wasn't doing anything. I really could have just sent this later. But now what they're going to do is they're going to use Imperm against the Dia Bellstar. Ugh, not ideal. It means I can't access my Snake Eye engine. Now after that, we're going to link away the Engraver plus Dia Bellstar in order to make our Fiendsmith's Requiem, or sorry, Sequence. But when I go to activate Sequence, they have another Imperm in their hand. And not only do they have another Imperm, but as we're going to see here in just a moment, they've also got an Izuna. Far from ideal. Was not expecting the Izuna from a Mitsurugi deck. I mean, I know that K9 Mitsurugi is a thing, I haven't really seen it since K9 very first came out, so I wasn't really expecting it. But now here they can make a Valen and then use Valen to turn my Cookie Yummy face down. So now I can't really make plays anymore. I can summon back Engraver, but I've already used the Requiem effect, so I can't equip and destroy, or send rather, the Valen here. What I can do is I can make Little Knight with the Engraver plus Sequence, then I'm going to use Little Knight in order to banish the Valen. So we know the two cards in hand are Habakiri plus Ritual, plus whatever they top decked. Okay, here's Mitsurugi Ritual. They're going to banish Aramasa plus the Kusanagi. And now they're going to make Habakiri from hand. Okay, they're going to activate Aramasa and Kusanagi. And I'm actually going to chain the SP Little Knight, because I don't want them to be able to just send the Habakiri from field, get to summon Murakumo, and then get the summon plus search off of Habakiri. With this, we're going to make them have their last card in hand be a little bit more relevant. They can still use Aramasa to add another Habakiri here, and now they can use Ritual to send the Habakiri in hand. So they will still get the search, but they don't get the body, which is going to matter here. Okay, here's their Murakumo. Murakumo is going to pop my face down Cookie Yummy. They're going to go Habakiri effect. However, my board being cleared means that my Fuelos is going to be live. So that could matter a lot here, potentially. Okay, here's Mitsurugi Prayers. They're going to tribute the Murakumo, adding Futsu no Mitama, and then reviving Kusanagi. Murakumo and Mirror both get to activate. I don't really care about them adding Futsu no Mitama. That's whatever. Mirror's already in... Oh, no, they're adding Mirror. Okay. I was trying to remember how they got access to it again, but duh, they just added it after putting it back. It looks like they're not going to use it just yet. They're going to battle first, not with Kusanagi, because they summoned it off of prayers. And then they're going to go Tribute Murakumo with Mirror to summon Futsu no Mitama from hand. They don't get to revive Murakumo again because it already used the effect, but obviously Futsu no Mitama threatens to revive. Put back Habakiri and Little Knight. Callby is actually a really good top deck here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go put back Sequence to summon Engraver. They can chain Futsu no Mitama. I'm going to chain Little Knight on the Futsu no Mitama, and then I'm going to chain Callby on the Murakumo. Now they don't get to summon anymore this turn, and they don't get to use Murakumo now or during their next turn. Okay, now we can equip Requiem to Engraver. Engraver F, send Requiem and Habakiri. And then we're just going to battle over the Kusanagi. So now they have the mystery card left in hand. They're going to revive Lupus here. Fine, whatever. And then Little Knight puts back Futsu no Mitama. Opponent's going to top deck before switching Futsu no Mitama to attack mode and just battling over my Little Knight plus Engraver with Lupus plus the Futsu. Normal summon Fuelos. I'm finally going to get to fire off my own Fuelos here, and they are going to end up linking Fuelos plus Lupus into IP Masquerena. So now we get to draw. It's going to be a Poplar. That's a full combo. Love to see it. In addition, during the end phase, I'm going to revive the Requiem off the Lacrima, specifically during the end phase, so they don't do any more shenanigans during their turn. We even top deck the Lacrima here. Not ideal, but we can just normal summon the Poplar. Gonna activate Requiem for Engraver. They're gonna go Futsu no Mitama for Kusanagi. I just kind of have to, at this point, accept they're gonna fill their board out with the Futsu no Mitama. We should actually be able to still win this game through all of that. I'm gonna use the Requiem on Engraver in order to bait out the IP Masquerena, because that's their last point of interaction. Well, now they also have the Little Knight on field effect, but that's not quite as big of a deal. Yeah, I basically really wanted this Little Knight banish to happen now. I was really surprised they banished my Requiem, but that's completely fine. We're going to normal summon Poplar, add the OSS, and then link into Sequence. If I didn't have Engraver, if they had banished that instead, then I would have just made Link Kuriboh here instead. But now I get to make Sequence and try to fusion summon potentially. Futsu no Mitama revives the Saji. Saji F is going to add them a Great Purification, but it's in hand, so it's not going to do anything on this turn. We're going to activate Sequence, shuffle back our two Engravers in order to make the Fiendsmith's Lacrima. We have to because those are our only targets left. But we can revive the Fiendsmith's Requiem with our Fiendsmith's Lacrima, and guess what? Not everybody knows this, but Fiendsmith's Requiem's summoned from deck effect, that's not once per turn. You can only special summon Requiem once per turn, and the equip effect is once per turn. However, this summoning from deck effect is not once per turn. Fun fact, by the way. Okay, they're gonna banish my Fiendsmith's Lacrima. We're gonna use Lacrima to dump Engraver, and now we can go OSS, send Poplar. That's gonna summon Snake Eye Ash. Snake Eye Ash is going to add another Poplar, because remember, we normal summoned the first one. Special summon Poplar, Snake Eye Ash, set itself in Poplar for Oak. We don't really have to necessarily summon Oak, but we can cycle it out of the deck, so why not? Now we're going to finally summon this Flamberge that's been sitting in our hand the whole game. We can activate pushing their Habakiri into the back row. It's going to free up our monster's attack points. Going to link off into Elf just so we can get the Flamberge effect. Summon out Oak plus Snake Eye Ash. Now we can link off the Snake Eye Ash into Link Kuriboh. If you had summoned Link Kuriboh earlier during the combo line, you would just revive it from the graveyard here, and then tune it with your remaining Snake Eye monster to make Cupsy Yummy Way. Doesn't even matter that we end up discarding one of the search targets here, because we can just search for Cupsy Yummy plus Marshmallow, discard the Marshmallow, and then special summon Cupsy, add Surprise, and then we can use Surprise to revive Marshmallow, and then Marshmallow will get back Surprise. But here is the Yummy Snatchy. Snatchy F is going to place Mignon. Like I said, here is Surprise for Marshmallow, and then Marshmallow F in order to add back the Surprise. We can also activate Surprise, targeting Snatchy and Marshmallow, as well as two of their monsters, and then we're going to chain the Yummy Snatchy effect. This means that we don't lose our monsters, but our opponent's monsters are still going to get bounced. And we can summon Lollipo Yummy Way, which of course is going to activate and revive 2 more yummy monsters from Graveyard. And at this point, we should have more than enough damage on board to swing in for lethal. So there we go. Very, very back and forth going second game that I think a lot of people would have conceded at some point, because even like there was such a long period in that game where our hand was just like Foolos Flamberge, not able to do anything, just like barely scraping by off the Fiendsmith engine in our graveyard. But I knew if I could just stay alive and top deck a Snake Eye card, I would win. And that's true enough, it ended up being exactly what happened here. So there's that first game. Let me go ahead and show you the next one. Okay, how about another going second duel? This time we're up against Kewl, the big bad of the format. I think Kewl is definitely just the best deck right now. For Snake Eye Yummy, it's hard to say because not a lot of people play this deck, but I genuinely think Snake Eye Yummy is like probably somewhere towards the lower end of tier 2, maybe the upper end of tier 3, but I think it's pretty viable. It's just that, again, not that many people play it. So here they're going to Desires and we're going to Droll. They're going to set 1 card and then pass back over to us. Now, we're going to top deck Lacrima. This card was glued to my hand this play session, but not that big of a deal. Here, we're going to, again, normal summon Lacrima. They're going to chain Effect Veiler. That's totally fine. I don't care at all, because I can turn the Lacrima into Fiendsmith's Requiem. And, as always, because we have a Link 1 monster on the field, I can just throw out this Lollipo Yummy from my hand. However, here, our opponent's going to play Super Polymerization. It's one of these Kewl builds. I say one of these. I think Super Poly is fine in Kewl. You do have the extra deck space, and Super Poly is pretty good, not just in general, but in this meta. It's even good against Kewl. So I don't fault my opponent for playing here. I'm just not really into Pot of Desires, Super Poly, or Naturia Rose Whip in my Kewl decks. I would just rather play like more hand traps or Duelist Genesis to search my synchro cards, but I don't think this is terrible by any means. They're going to make Mud Dragon. I'm forced to just pass here. Don't have anything on board to send away with the OSS. They're going to normal summon Kewl Q. I'm going to chain my Ash Blossom and really hope that's enough to stop them. I suspect there's a decent chance it will be, just based on how their last turn went. And sure enough, it looks like they're going to link off the Mud Dragon plus the Q in order to make the Little Knight. They're going to activate Little Knight, banish Lacrima, but I can just chain that. It's not a big deal. Oh, but right, they're going to fire off a Ghost Bell. Again, though, that's really not that big of a deal. I would actually definitely rather them Ghost Bell the Lacrima here as opposed to something on my follow-up turn. They can't attack because of the Little Knight, so they're just going to pass right back over to me. And we even find another Cookie Yummy. I'm still going to normal summon the Poplar here, though. Okay, here they're going to go Clip plus Ash Blossom into Crackle. Now they get both the Crackle and the Clip extra deck rip. So let's see what happens here. Clip banishes the Cookie Yummy Way, which is literally, I think, the best possible target. In fact, just looking at my extra deck here, if I had to pick one card instead of it being random, I probably would have just picked Cookie Yummy Way. So that's really, really good for me. And now they're going to look at the extra deck, and after looking, they're going to end up banishing the Cupsy Yummy Way, which I really like just being in my opponent's shoes here, looking at this extra deck and being like, dude, I don't even know. Cupsy Yummy Way, I think, is actually a pretty solid hit. Although we do already have access to Lollipo in the graveyard, so between that and Cookie, we should still be fine here. Alright, Poplar is going to get turned into the Link Karibo. Now, we're going to put Poplar in the Spell Trap Zone, special summon the Cookie Yummy, activate OSS for the Poplar for Snake Eye Ash. Note that they still have the SP Little Knight banish effect, but they haven't used it, because they aren't really going to have a great opportunity to use it. We're going to go Oak for the Ash, and then we're going to link away the Cookie Yummy into Snatchy. And now it's like, now I have multiple Link 1s and level 1s, so I can make Lollipo Yummy Way whenever I want. And then Mignon reviving the Cookie, and they're going to concede at this point, because they realize, I think, the point I was just making here, right? This idea that, like, it doesn't really matter what Little Knight banishes at this point, because I have multiple Link 1s and multiple level 1s. I can always just generate a board. That's never going to be an issue for me. And Yeah, even without the Cupsy Yummy Way, we still have access to Cookie and Lollipo. So if we made Lollipo Yummy Way, that still gets to revive 2 level 1 Yummy monsters and represent a lot of plays, again, going into, especially even if they live my turn going into their next turn. Okay, I think we have time for one more game. Let's finish off with one last one here. Looks like we got a lose coin flips win anyway video on our hands because we are going to be going second for our final replay, this time against Radiant Typhoon. Looking at our hand, we got 3 very good hand traps as well as access to both Fiendsmith and Yummy Stuff. Now here they're going to chant for Eldum. I'm going to fire off Fulos because I know that, well, I wanted to test and see if they had Ash Blossom or Call By, and I definitely wanted to draw phase Maxi because I know that Eldum doesn't activate to special summon. So instead what they're going to do here is they're going to set 3 and then normal summon Swen to give me 0 draws. But I can still Ash Blossom the Swen, that way they're not able to get like Mandate or anything else scary here. And I know the last card in hand is Eldum, so all I really have to play through are these 3 Backrows, which if they're MSTs without a Mandate is not that big of a deal. We'll just have to see what they end up being. Alright, we're going to go into our turn here, draw for turn, find another Yummy monster. We're going to lead with Activate Engraver to add the Fiendsmith's Tract. Now we're going to activate Tract to add and then discard the Fabled Lurie. Lurie, of course, gets to activate. We're going to special summon and then link into the Fiendsmith's Requiem. And as long as the Requiem is on the field, I'm going to try to sneak in special summoning a Yummy monster. Our opponent's going to chain Droplet, Send to Swen, so I can't chain Fiendsmith's Requiem. What I can do here is special summon Lollipo Yummy, then I'm going to revive Engraver off its own effect. Our opponent's going to chain Runic Flashing Fire on the Lollipo Yummy, which is definitely ideal. However, I want to point something out here real quick. The 2 cards that my opponent banished with Flashing Fire are Cupsy Yummy and Flamberge. That's an insane 2 to rip off the top of the deck, because they're both one-ofs, because Cupsy Yummy's limited now, and Flamberge you only ever play 1. So these are 2 very important one-of cards. Like, with Flamberge in here, my Snake Eye engine is kind of pointless at this point. And with Cupsy Yummy here, I can't go into Cupsy Yummy Way and be able to get Yummy Surprise. However, thankfully, when I special summoned this second Yummy monster, the Cookie Yummy, my opponent just conceded anyway. And even without Cupsy Yummy, I was still definitely way ahead during this game, but I just thought that was really funny. My opponent had an insanely good Runic Flashing Fire there. Insanely good, but it wasn't enough to stop them from losing the game here. All right, that is going to do it for the duels. Let me show you the deck list, and then we'll wrap up here. Okay, here is Fiendsmith, Snake Eye Yummy. I took a lot of inspiration, like I said, from the Fiendsmith Snake Eye Yummy build that was in the top 100 of the Duelist Cup. I've made a couple of changes. I added Barrel and Defleur, although with my current combo lines, it doesn't really come up too much. You'll also notice that in the main deck, I'm not playing like Temple or Snake Eye Diabellstar, which I did in previous Snake Eye Yummy iterations, like the one I topped the Deckmaster Cup with. To help play through Nibiru. But the idea here is that we're taking those kind of brickier cards out in exchange for the Fiendsmith engine. Because we're not on those other Snake Eye cards, it's why we don't really summon Barrel and Defleur as often. I actually might end up cutting her from the extra deck. That sounds insane, but again, with the current combo lines I'm playing, she just does not come up really. Typically, the Flamberge goes into your 2 Snake Eye monsters, one of which you tribute to bring back Link Kuriboh, assuming you summoned it earlier in your Snake Eye line, and then you use the 2 of those to make Cupsy Yummy Way, pivoting from Snake Eye into Yummy. You do also get to incidentally, if you start with a Snake Eye card, you can summon a Caesar with the Fiendsmith engine as well. I really, though, want to try to engineer an end board that's got, like, Herald, Baron, Caesar, as well as Elf with Yummy Stuff. I think that is possible, but I need to do a little bit of brainstorming in the lab in order to come up with that combo line. Whilst, I mean, I know ways I could do that combo line, but it would involve playing, like, a 45 to 50 card deck. I feel like there's got to be a way to do it a lot more elegantly. And like I said, I'm going to be going into the lab and trying to figure that out here, I think, soon. So probably going to be a follow-up Snake Eye Yummy video in the near future. I still really love this variant. I love Snake Eye Yummy. It's my favorite way to play the Yummy deck. Granted, I don't have the Sulfur Cord card, so I still have not tried that yet. Which I know, that is definitely the best way to play Yummy, but what can I say? I'm cheap. I don't want to craft the 4 Sulfur Cord URs I would need. Even though I have the materials, I don't want to do it. Besides, I just think that I would probably still like this variant more. I love the Snake Eye engine. It's one of my favorite engines out there, and is, I think, being criminally underplayed right now. I don't think Snake Eye cards are bad. It's just a matter of people not using them. There is definitely a difference, but I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the list for right now. So as always, thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video. It's one of the best ways to support smaller YouTube channels like myself, and I really, really do appreciate you sticking around to watch the entire thing. It really does mean a lot. But like I said, that is going to do it. So we're going to move now to our outro, where we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers for their extra generous support. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which, by the way, is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.